Hey guys, if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on, YouTube? Middle Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the VDK Strix. Very striking, very aggressive looking folding knife. Really cool though. I've got a lot to say about it. Thank you so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. If you'd like to get your hands on some cool stickers and some other benefits, there is of course a link down in the description to support me in the world to me. And also be sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. This knife was sent to me by the Apex Pass Around group. Shout out to the Apex Pass Around group. Appreciate that. So I'm doing something a little bit different here today. I'm sitting down. I tend to wander when I stand up and do a review, and it makes my voice sound uneven. And I don't have a mic yet, but there's one coming. And also the light seems to hit the knives better when I do this. So we're going to try it. It's hard for me to sit still. So let's see how this goes. Let's go ahead and get a measurement of this guy. Overall length of the VDK Strix is coming in at, looks to be right at, having to get used to sitting down. It may be just a tad under 8 inches, maybe 7.9. Your blade length is coming in at exactly 3.5, and then your cutting edge is about 3.4. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons here. So up against the Ontario Rat Model 1, Rat 1 is coming in at 8.6 inches overall. So you can see here, this is definitely not a small knife, but it is a little shorter than the Ontario Rat. How about up against the Spyderco PM2? Spyderco PM2 is coming in at 8.3 inches overall, so a little bit longer there. How about up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue? Ritter Hogue is coming in at 8 inches overall, so just about exactly the same length there as the Ritter Hogue. And last but not least, the smallest knife that I carry, the Spyderco Para 3. Spyderco Para 3 is coming in at 7.25 inches overall. How's the action on this guy? So these knives are not made in the United States. They are made in China, and I don't know who the OEM is. I'll be honest with you guys. But it feels... Let me show you guys the action. This is totally false shut. Totally. And not like a cheap false shut where it just depends on the mass of the blade. No, this is a quality, very nearly frictionless false shut action. I don't know exactly who the OEM is, but... it feels better than a lot of the Chinese OEMs that really like that $200 to $250 mark. It definitely feels more like the 300-ish area, what I've expected from Chinese OEMs that put out knives around the 300-ish mark. So I don't want to guess because I don't know. I couldn't find the information. And, not, I found out from reviewing knives from other companies is that sometimes the OEM changes even within one design. Since I don't know for sure, there's no way for me to say. But I'm sure somebody does know, and you're welcome to speak up in the comment section so that everybody does know. The action is excellent. And the flipper tab is nice too. It's not, pokey or obnoxious. It's just great. The detent is nice. There's no double clutch. I'll give you guys a look at the detent here. Click. Nice. Just perfect. No issue there whatsoever. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. Get out my tools for you guys here real quick. A bit selector and magnetic driver. You can pick these up in my description. I believe they're at the bottom. So check those out. They are not expensive and they are very recommendable. Go ahead and check that pivot there here real quick. Yeah, that's going to be a T8. And taking a look at the body screws, I believe these... Yeah, okay. Those are T8 as well. We got two on this side. Let's just check them again there real quick. Yeah, those are all T8. Fantastic. That is always excellent. I don't like T6 because they strip easy and the bits, they get the teeth knocked down easy, so T8's fantastic. It also just has 2 screws on each side and a backspacer, which is one of those ideal situations. Very minimal hardware, easy to take apart. That's wonderful. I got no issues with that. Let's go ahead and talk about carry profile. So thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. Spyderco Para 3, not a super thick knife, but also not a thin knife. You can see there it is a little bit thicker. There is contouring going on with the Strix, so not really that big of a deal. Profile on the Strix is definitely a little bit thinner. So up against the Spyderco PM2 and Para 3, 2 knives that are a bit awkward in the pocket, nobody ever complains about. You can see there it's really just a hair longer than the Para 3, and it's definitely shorter than the PM2. Nowhere near as tall, even with the flipper tab, and that's because the shape of it, right? They cut this area out in the back of the frame. It allows the flipper tab to be a bit smaller, or not, you know, a little less obtrusive and not be quite as tall at its tallest point. So yeah, in and out of the pocket, this isn't going to be that big of a deal. Let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. You can pick up my flashlight down in the description as well. Yeah, you can see in there we've got some milling going on, so that's nice. These are titanium scales. By the way, did I mention it runs on bearings? You guys probably can figure that out for yourself. Let's go ahead and get blade stock thickness measurement here real quick. I'm making this work. This is weird sitting down, but I'm making it work. Let's see here. Blade stock thickness is coming in at 155 or so thousandths. That's kind of what I expected. That's not ultra thick, but it's definitely not thin. Let's go ahead and weigh it real quick. Weight. Wow, really? 3.53 ounces? Okay, 3.53 ounces. That's right on the whole ounce and inch thing. That can't, is that really the case? It feels heavier than that. That's why I'm, okay. Yeah, it's 3.5 ounces, guys. That's pretty amazing. You know, truthfully, the thing's not difficult to carry in the pocket. I mean, if you're used to carrying like the Spyderco Para 3 lightweight or bug out or mini bug out, yeah, it's gonna be too big and too heavy for you, and in some places it's gonna be illegal. But for the most part, people who carry knives that are similar in size and weight to the Ritter Hogue, yeah, the Ritter Hogue is actually heavier than this guy. That's wild. But okay, yeah. For those of you who carry knives like that, PM2, Para 3, stuff like that every day, yeah, this isn't going to be a problem. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Okay, moving on here. Let's take a look at the scale. So this comes in a few different configurations, and by configurations I mean just the coating on the blade and the anodization on the frame. There's gold and blue and green, and they do some of the weird stuff, so that's cool. This green, or more so cyan, I don't know how you say that color. It's got some slight, you can see there as you turn it, it turns more blue, and as it's in direct light, it's more green. I really like this color of anodization, and it makes me really appreciate the contouring on it as well, because the contouring is what's giving it that crazy color effect, or that shifting color effect. If we had a more blocky, I've realized my hands are more in the video when I do this. Maybe that's preferable. But if we had a more blocky scale construction here, then we would see, you know, a much bigger contrast between the blue and the green, because the blue would be showing on one side and the green. And some people might like that, but I kind of like this slow shifting of color. And this is nice. The contouring is really excellent on this guy. Every, you know, area that might be angular is, you know, or might look angular, no, it's nicely knocked down. There's no sharp edges or anything like that. I really like the contrast with the hardware too. It's black. I don't know why the black pocket clip and black hardware just looks good up against this green. If it were satin, it might not look as good, at least on the hardware. I also kind of, this is one of those rare circumstances, like I always go for a satin color. I actually like tumbled blades the best, but I very rarely go for a black or DLC coated blade. Because the hardware is black and the handles, the scale is green in this case, I think I would have gone for a totally DLC blade, which they do have black blades. I don't know if they're full DLC or just black tumbled, right? I'm sick of satin finishes. Some people really like them. I'm not really into them anymore, but that's, you know, it's up to you. The blade is definitely the most striking part of this. This is a very wicked, it's a tanto, for sure. It's a compound ground tanto. You've got hollow up front, flat, or hollow on the primary, and then flat up here at the front. And we have this massive flat that carries out about 95% or about 90% the length of the blade. Lots of strength, absolutely. And then this is kind of almost has that Persian sort of swoop right here. I don't know exactly what we call that. It's an interesting and fairly unique tanto blade. I like how that looks. I do not like the giant VDK. I think that really takes away from it. I would prefer that it was somewhere else, or at least much smaller, right? Like on the other side, how it says M390 right there, I'd just take it much smaller. I don't know. The design is so cool and interesting, and I understand, you know, you want to put your logo on there, but I feel like the text is just too blown up, and that's the first thing that I saw, and that's too bad, because I really just want to look at the blade. But nothing against VDK. They want to let people know, by putting their logo on there. I completely understand that. But I think it could have been done smaller. In any case, it really doesn't matter that much because it doesn't take away from the utilitarian potential of the knife, so that's fine. Up here, because this is satin finished, it's just ever so slightly sharp. But honestly, it's knocked down enough. It really doesn't bother me that much. The blade is done just excellent. Glassy, smooth edge, fully symmetrical on both sides. Really, really looks nice. Ergonomically, I'm honestly kind of surprised. I looked at this and I was like, that does not look comfortable. I can see where I'm supposed to put my hands, but I can't imagine comfort. But this area up here that's sort of carved out, actually, when you lay all your fingers down, it's pretty comfortable. It's pretty comfortable. I'd give this a solid B+, A-. I'm honestly pretty impressed with it. It's really, I could totally, if I hold it like this or like this. Either way, they definitely carved out some pretty organic spaces for your hands, and I appreciate that. It's nice that it's got its own unique aesthetic flow going on, but it's always nice when you can achieve that and be comfortable at the same time. The contouring adds to that, which is why I always say I'll accept a little excess thickness for some contouring. Not that this is thick by any stretch of the imagination, but it's comfortable. It fills the hand, feels good. It's one of those knives that feels good to the touch, right? And then it's got this striking look to it. That's why I really wanted to sit down and let the lights bounce off of this, because the scale is just awesome. M390, of course, is great. No issues there. Moving down to the rest of it, you've got these 2 screws right here holding in the black backspacer, and I don't know if the backspacer is aluminum or titanium. Anyways, it does look nice. Pocket clip is it's one of, I don't know, it's just a pocket clip. It just looks like a cucumber, except that it's black. It doesn't carry deep. It doesn't carry shallow. It does the job. There's not really much for it to catch on, and it's definitely going to, for the most part, slide over the pants pocket of whatever it is that you're wearing, so I don't really have an issue there. I don't know. It kind of goes with the design. I kind of wanted something a little bit more unique. These popsicle or bowed popsicle stick style clips, I understand that term is more so when it's a perfectly straight clip. These aren't my favorite looking clips, but functionally it's just fine. It absolutely does the job. It's plenty robust enough. Feels like titanium. I kind of want to check and see if the magnet sticks to it. Yeah, okay, so it's a titanium clip. Is the backspacer? The backspacer, I can't tell if it's the screws it's wanting to stick to or what, but the backspacer could be titanium, it could be aluminum, it could be steel, right? I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me, but the pocket clip appears to be titanium. It does have a steel lock bar insert that doubles as the over travel stop, so that's always nice to see. And then we are locking up at, let me go ahead and flip that again and get an organic lockup. We're locking up at something like 20%, and the blade is absolutely perfectly centered. We do have, I think I saw, a little bit of shouldering there, so it wraps nicely around the stop pin. That's great. And it is completely and totally solid. So little things, again, that I can nitpick. I don't like the VDK logo. It's just too big and crazy. Some people are not going to like the blade. I kind of think the blade's cool. It looks gigantic compared to the handle. It's kind of interesting how it disappears into the handle, when it's closed. But that's the thing here, is the striking aesthetic. But some people might not like it if you're not into tan toes, right? I understand that. The pocket clip is a little bit uninspiring, but it does go with the design. Uninspired, I think is a better way to put that. That's just for me though, right? But it does function just fine. I don't know that there's really a lot to complain about. Again, it's going to be very person to person as far as whether or not it's legal, right? Some people are not really going to like the price tag. I don't know, it's kind of nice in this situation that I don't know who the OEM is, because there's not a foundation of quality that's being laid for, me to build off of with the review. So I'm just organically feeling this out. They want $350 for this knife, and initially I'm like, it's a little high. It definitely, in terms of, if you put a lot of value into the action, right, and just the overall feel of quality with the knife, then I think it's going to be a little bit easier for you to pay that. This definitely feels very high quality. But in today's knife world in a year, 2 ago, something like that, that price would be fully justifiable. In that price range, this $300 to $350 price range, we're seeing more inlay work. We're seeing more, like extra crazy milling. There's just extra. It's not necessarily granting you a benefit in terms of utility, those extra details, but the scales look cool. I like the anodizing and I like the contouring, but if I'm going to pay $350, me personally, I want to see a little bit more going on, right? So, and define, that how you will, but like some people like inlay work, some people like, crazy texture patterns that are sort of like going in different directions. And I don't know. I feel like this is kind of a blank canvas, and maybe this is what they were trying to accomplish here, but I would have liked to see some really light micro texturing or like, different patterns and things there. I would have really, really liked that. Not that that is absolutely how you, an equation to get to $350, right? $350 is okay. You're definitely getting a super high quality knife. If you like how this looks, you don't need any excess in terms of detail on the frame, right? And you can justify that money, right? You're just wanting to know, does it feel like it's really well made, like it's going to last? Definitely, definitely. When you get it, you're probably going to be happy. But if you're not totally convinced on the aesthetic and you're, I don't know, maybe it's not going to be worth as much to you. This is a really cool knife. I don't think it's going to be for everybody, but it's certainly is going to really do it for a lot of people. So, it's not one of those things that I can absolutely recommend to every single person, right? And my reasons are so wishy-washy. This is a good knife. It is well made. It's really going to be great for a lot of people. They're going to have no problem spending the money on it, but it's not something that I think everybody needs to rush out and buy right now, especially if you're not totally into the aesthetic. But very, very cool. Right in line with the other stuff that I've handled from VDK. It's all got this same like hyper, just really, really refined in the action department and very smooth, very, very, if you were to close your eyes and pick this up and manipulate it, you go, oh, this is a nice one. It's one of those. That's what it feels like. So anyways, this was cool though. And thanks again to the Apex Pass Around group. And I would imagine by extension VDK for supplying this, but it could have come from a viewer or something like that. But I think that's going to be pretty much it today, guys. This was weird sitting down. Let me know if it seemed different, if my general flow was different, or the way that it's something as simple as sitting down for a review when you're used to standing up for 2.5 years can change things. But I don't know, it felt okay to me. Let me know what you guys think, if it was fine, if it was different, whatever. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that metal complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.